Just tell him you're breaking up. He'll come running back, trust me. That one sentence. That one careless piece of advice ruined everything. My best friend was arrested for an acid attack, and I was the reason it all started. Let me rewind. I'm Maria. And my best friend, the closest person I've ever had, is Irina. We've been inseparable since we were kids. We knew each other better than anyone. Shared every secret, every heartbreak, every laugh. But nothing could have prepared us for what happened when she fell in love with Boris. He was charming at first. Attentive. Always bringing her flowers, texting sweet things. But slowly that faded. The texts got shorter. The flowers stopped. Suddenly he was always busy. Always in meetings. Always tired. Irina would sit on my bed and cry. He's slipping away. I feel it. I try to be the strong one. Then make him realize what he's losing, I told her. Scare him a little. Tell him you're breaking up. Pretend. Just to wake him up. I laughed. She didn't. Are you sure? Yes. Guys always react to that. He'll come back to you, you'll see. She trusted me. And that was my first mistake. Because the moment she said, we need to break up, he looked her straight in the eye and said, okay. Then he walked away. No chase. No tears. Nothing. Irina was devastated. She blamed me, rightfully so. But things got even worse. Just 3 days later, we saw him, with another girl. Younger. Flashier. The type who flaunts everything and hides nothing. Who's that? Irina asked, trying not to sound broken. Hi, the girl smirked. I'm Yana. And by the way, we just filed our marriage papers. So, if you were hoping for a fairy tale ending, too late. Irina clenched her fists. Her entire body went stiff. She was on the edge of exploding. I had to physically pull her away before she lunged at the girl. And that's when she turned to me and said something I'll never forget. This is your fault. You told me to do it. Now he's gone. And I'm humiliated. I tried to apologize. Over and over. But she wouldn't listen. She stopped returning my calls. Refused to leave her apartment. I knew she was spiraling, and it killed me. That's when I decided to fix it. If I got her into this, I was going to get her out. I texted Boris, begged him to meet me at a nightclub, somewhere public, somewhere we could talk. He agreed. I wanted to explain everything. That it was a misunderstanding. That Irina still loved him. That he should reconsider. But I never got the chance. Because that night, something happened. A scream ripped through the music. People rushed toward the noise. I followed. And that's when I saw her. Yana. On the floor. Screaming. Crying. Holding her arm. Her skin, blistering. Someone had thrown acid at her. It was chaos. I was in shock. And then I heard Boris yell. It was Irina. She threatened her before. I heard it myself. Before I could even process what was happening, the police were there. And hours later, Irina was arrested. My best friend in handcuffs. Because of a breakup that I caused. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. Yes, Irina was angry. But she wasn't violent. She would never do something like that. Not even to someone who ruined her life. I had to prove her innocence. No matter what it took. And then, one strange coincidence flipped everything upside down. While leaving the hospital where Yana was recovering, I saw a guy I didn't recognize standing outside her room with flowers. He wasn't Boris. And he wasn't just any visitor, he looked nervous. Anxious. Like someone with a secret. His name was Kostya. Yana's ex-boyfriend. And he was a walking red flag. He admitted they used to date before she met Boris. That they were close. That he was still in love with her. But when I asked if Boris knew, his face changed. He saw us once, kissing. Lost it. Said I'd regret ever touching her again. Suddenly, it all clicked. What if this wasn't about Irina at all? What if Boris, angry, jealous, possessive, decided to teach her a lesson for cheating with her ex? Or what if Yana orchestrated the whole thing herself to frame Irina and make Boris love her more? Or worse, what if this Kostya guy couldn't handle rejection and decided if Yana wouldn't love him, no one would? There were too many questions. Too many lies. And no one could be trusted. But I made a promise to myself that night. I'm going to find out who did this. And I'm going to save my best friend. No matter what it costs me. I couldn't sleep that night. All I saw when I closed my eyes was Irina, handcuffed, crying, broken. My best friend, rotting in a jail cell because of a crime she didn't commit. And me, the one who told her to fake a breakup. The one who accidentally set the whole damn thing in motion. No, I wasn't going to sit still. The next morning, I headed straight to Irina's apartment. I needed answers. Real ones. She opened the door slowly. Her eyes were red. Her voice barely a whisper. What are you doing here? I need to know the truth, I said. Everything. No more lies. At first, she resisted. She told me she hadn't even gone near that club that night. But I pressed. I begged. And finally, she cracked. Okay, fine. I went to the club. But only because I wanted to talk to her. Yana. I didn't bring anything. I just wanted to tell her to leave Boris alone. My stomach dropped. So, you confronted her? Yes, but I didn't touch her. I swear. That wasn't what Boris told me. He said Irina had threatened Yana. Screamed at her. Threw things. He's lying, Irina said, her eyes wide. I only followed her inside. She started yelling at me. She pulled off her engagement ring and shoved it in my face. Called me a pathetic, washed-up, old maid. And then she walked away. And just like that, I believed her. The details. The way she shook while telling me. The humiliation in her voice. It was real. But then she said something that sent a chill through my entire body. Before I left, I saw someone. A guy. He was standing near the alley. He looked nervous. And I'm pretty sure he threw something in the bushes. I blinked. What did he look like? Skinny. Brown hoodie. Kinda messy. Long nose. My heart nearly stopped. Was it Kostya? She squinted. Maybe. I don't know him. That was it. That was the thread. If Kostya really had thrown something away that night, it could have been the acid bottle. A real clue. A real way to clear Irina's name. So we went back. Irina and I snuck into the same alley behind the nightclub where the attack had happened. It was grimy. Empty. The bushes were overgrown. The ground covered in wrappers and cigarette butts. This is stupid, Irina muttered. We're not going to find anything. We have to try. We dug through filth. Plastic. Broken glass. Empty beer cans. Nothing looked suspicious until I saw it. A small plastic bottle, half covered in leaves. The label was torn. But the smell. It's acid, I whispered. It has to be. Are you sure? 100%. We wrapped it in my scarf and ran. We didn't know what to do. Take it to the police? What if they didn't believe us? What if they arrested Irina again? That's when I remembered, Kostya. He had told me he hadn't even gone into the club that night. But now we knew that was a lie. So I tracked him down. I waited outside the university where he studied. When he walked out, I stepped in front of him. We need to talk. What do you want? Why did you lie to me? You were at the club that night. He looked stunned for a second. Then shrugged. So what? I didn't do anything. You threw something in the bushes. Acid. I found it. That got him. His face drained of color. You're insane. Then why are you sweating? He looked around like he was about to run. But then he snapped. Fine. I was there. I saw Boris and Yana kissing. I lost it, okay? I followed them. I wanted to confront him. But I didn't do anything. I swear. Then who did? How should I know? Maybe it was Yana. Yana? She wouldn't hurt herself. Wouldn't she? He hissed. You don't know her like I do. She's manipulative. She always plays victim. Maybe she wanted attention. Maybe she wanted to frame your precious friend. Or maybe she was jealous. I didn't want to believe it. But deep down, I knew he wasn't lying. There was something about Yana. Something off. And then I remembered something else. Something Boris said when he was angry. She'll bathe in her own blood for what she did. He wasn't just talking about heartbreak. He was talking about revenge. Suddenly, the suspect list was wide open. Kostya? Boris? Yana herself? I didn't know who to believe anymore. But I knew one thing. Someone was lying. And my best friend's freedom depended on exposing them. And I was done playing nice. It wasn't just a feeling anymore. It was a knot in my stomach, twisting tighter with every lie I uncovered. Yana was hiding something. And it was time to find out what. I couldn't go to the police yet, not without proof. Not when Boris, Yana, Kostya, and even the law itself were tangled in this toxic mess. So I did what I had to do. I went to the hospital. Yana's room was on the second floor, guarded by silence and the stale smell of antiseptic. She didn't expect me. "You," she said, blinking in surprise. "What are you doing here?" "We need to talk." "I'm resting." "You'll be resting a lot longer if I don't clear up what really happened." She tilted her head. "What's that supposed to mean?" I stepped closer, lowering my voice. "I know you've been lying." She laughed, a sharp, hollow laugh. "About what? Being in pain? Having acid thrown in my face?" "No," I said. "About the person who did it." Her eyes narrowed. She stiffened. "You think it was your friend?" "I think it wasn't her." "Then who?" she snapped. "My sister? Myself?" I didn't blink. "Maybe." She didn't respond, just stared at me like she couldn't tell whether I was bluffing or insane. "You're out of your mind," she finally muttered. "I could have been blinded. But you weren't." "What's your point?" "The injuries," I said. "They were mild." "Too mild." "Just the arm. Almost like you wanted to be hurt, but not disfigured. Just enough to create sympathy. Just enough to frame someone." Yana's smile was gone now. "You don't know what you're talking about." But her hands were trembling. "You framed Irina because you hated how much Boris still loved her. Because even when you got him, he was still thinking about her." She stood up so fast the chair screeched behind her. "Get out," she hissed. "No." I pulled out my phone. "I found the bottle, Yana. The one with acid. Not thrown by Irina. And Kostya told me you and Boris were fighting before the attack. He said you were obsessed with keeping him. Obsessed with proving something." Her voice cracked. "You think I would hurt myself?" "Yes." "Why would I do that?" "Because you were losing control. And girls like you? You don't handle rejection well." She lunged at me, and for a moment, I thought she might actually hit me. But instead, she collapsed back into the bed, eyes burning. "You don't understand," she whispered. I said nothing, just waited. And then the truth spilled. He was slipping away. I could feel it. He started comparing me to her, saying she had depth, that I was performative, that he missed someone real. So yeah, I did it. I couldn't breathe. I poured it myself. I knew it would burn. I didn't care. He'd come rushing back. He'd hold me and cry and swear he'd never leave. And it worked until you started sniffing around. There it was. The confession. The whole rotten, heartbreaking confession. I should have recorded it, I know I should have, but in that moment, I was frozen. Shattered. Horrified. "You were going to let Irina go to jail. She deserved it." Yana screamed. She had her chance. He was mine. She didn't deserve anything except the truth. I turned and walked out. Tears blurred my eyes. Rage crawled under my skin. But it wasn't over. I rushed to the station, to the same officer who'd arrested Irina. Told him everything. Names. Places. The bottle. The confession. They were skeptical, until I brought in Yana's sister Sashka. Sashka had her own grudge, sure, but she also had the missing puzzle piece. She had seen Yana that night. Alone. In the alley. Pouring something onto her jacket. She didn't say anything before because Yana had threatened her. But now? Now she was done protecting her. With my testimony, Kostya's statement, and Sashka's backup, the police reopened the case. Irina was released later that evening. When she walked out of that building, pale and confused and blinking at the sun, I ran to her. "You're free," I said, sobbing. "You're really free." She didn't speak. She just hugged me like she never wanted to let go. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for believing in me, even when I didn't deserve it." But the story wasn't over yet. Because when Boris found out what Yana had done, let's just say he didn't take it well. Boris didn't answer my call. Not the first time. Not the fifth. So I went to his office. Stormed past his assistant, straight into his glass-walled kingdom where he once smiled like a golden boy. But when he saw me, he didn't smile. He stood. Slowly. Like someone preparing for battle. What do you want, Masha? You need to know what Yana did. His jaw clenched. I could see it, the flicker of fear behind his eyes. But he hid it behind arrogance. She's been through enough. She lied, Boris. You don't know what you're talking about. She admitted it. She confessed. She burned herself, just to frame Irina. She wanted to punish her for something you were too much of a coward to say yourself. His knuckles went white on the edge of the desk. Where's your proof? I have witnesses. Sashka. Kostya. I have the acid bottle. I have. Stop. His voice was suddenly low. Too low. You're trying to ruin her. No. She ruined herself. Just like you did when you threw Irina away for a plastic lie. He laughed. An ugly, bitter laugh. You think I didn't know? That Yana was fake? You think I didn't see through the act? I froze. Then why stay with her? Because I wanted fake. His words hit like slaps. You don't understand what it's like to be with someone who knows you. Who sees you. Irina knew me too well. And I hated it. You hated being loved? I hated being exposed. There it was. The truth. Ugly. Raw. He didn't leave Irina because she was lacking. He left her because she saw all of him, the cowardice, the vanity, the rot, and loved him anyway. And he couldn't handle that. She would have forgiven you, I said. You know that, right? And that's the worst part, he whispered. That she would have. I backed away. She deserves so much better. Then go be her savior, he spat. You're both fools. You think the truth matters? You think people care who actually did what? They just want a headline. A villain. A victim. You think justice is real. I think it is when people fight for it. He didn't answer. Just turned his back. And I walked out. I found Irina sitting on the edge of her bed, staring out the window like she was trying to forget her entire life. She looked up at me, not with anger. Not even with pain. Just emptiness. He knew, she said. Yes. He stayed anyway. Yes. She blinked slowly. Then what's wrong with me? Nothing, I said, kneeling beside her. Nothing at all. I believed him, Masha. Even when it didn't make sense. Even when he let me rot in that cell, I kept thinking he'd show up. That he'd fix it. Because you're not like them. Then why do I keep losing to girls like Yana? That shattered me. Because I didn't have an answer. But I knew this. Irina was never the problem. And she would never be anyone's second choice again, not if I had anything to say about it. The story hit the local papers the next morning. Someone at the police station leaked the investigation. Yana's name was plastered across headlines. Bride fakes acid attack to frame ex's former girlfriend. The public turned. Sympathy curdled into outrage. Even the hospital released a statement, confirming her injuries were minor surface burns and that inconsistencies had been reported. Boris? He vanished. Shut down his socials. Closed his company for a hiatus. Coward. But Irina? She rose. Slowly. Quietly. Like someone learning how to walk again after a near-fatal fall. And I stayed by her side. Every step. Every stumble. What now? She asked one day. Now you heal, I said. And after that? I smiled. After that, you shine. But just when we thought the nightmare was over, an envelope arrived at my apartment. No return address. Inside? Photos. Of me. Of Irina. Of the hospital. Of Sashka. All taken from a distance. All recent. And one note, in handwriting I didn't recognize. You picked the wrong person to expose. My blood ran cold. This wasn't over. Not even close. The photos haunted me. They were taken from rooftops, parking lots, street corners. Blurry enough to look accidental, but composed enough to say one thing loud and clear. We're watching. The note was unsigned. Just one sentence, scrawled in jagged black ink. You picked the wrong person to expose. I locked every door. Closed every curtain. And didn't sleep. Not that night. Not the next. I didn't tell Irina at first. I didn't want her to spiral again. She'd finally started breathing like a human being instead of a hunted animal. But secrets, no matter how well-meaning, rot everything. And I should have known better. Because the next day, she got a package too. No return address. Inside? A cheap doll with burned plastic skin. And a picture of her and Boris, back when they were happy, with a giant red X through her face. She screamed. I'd never heard that sound from her before. Not even when she was in jail. It was the sound of someone realizing they weren't safe. Nowhere. Not ever. Who would do this? She whispered, clutching the doll like it was a grenade. I don't know, but we need to go to the police. She didn't move. What if they don't believe us again? They will. And if they don't? I had no answer. Because last time, they didn't. And the idea of her getting locked up again for something she didn't do made my throat close up. We'll figure it out, I said. Together. We took everything, the notes, the photos, the doll, to the station. They logged it. They nodded. They promised to look into it. But the way the officer's eyes slid past us, like we were just wasting ink, made me want to scream. So, nothing? I asked. We'll be in touch. Right. The next night, my apartment was broken into. Nothing stolen. Just rearranged. The couch slightly shifted. A drawer half open. A window unlocked. I never left windows unlocked. They wanted me to know they'd been there. And they didn't need to take anything. Just remind me they could. Irina insisted I move in with her. I didn't argue. It wasn't safe anymore. Not just physically, but mentally. I couldn't even tell what was real and what was planted to scare us. But the real nightmare started when Sashka vanished. Gone. No text. No note. No anything. I called every contact she had. Nothing. I filed a missing person report, but they didn't take it seriously. Maybe she just needed space. No. Not Sashka. Not when she'd just started living again. Not when she'd just started talking about enrolling in school. Not when she'd just promised to come over for coffee. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Then a message arrived. From a burner number. Just 2 words. Stay quiet. Attached was a blurry image. Sashka. Tied to a chair. In what looked like a basement. Irina collapsed to the floor. I called the police. Again. And this time I screamed. Do you get it now? Do you understand what's happening? She's been taken. She could be dead if you don't act. That got their attention. They traced the number. Found a burner phone dumped in a river. Dead end. We were losing time. Irina and I did the only thing we could do. We started investigating again. We revisited Yana's sister's building. Sashka had sworn she saw someone following her the day before she vanished. Maybe a neighbor saw something. Maybe there was security footage. We went door to door. Most people didn't answer. One old man did. Pretty girl, your friend. Blonde. I saw her get into a black van last week. Didn't look right. She wasn't smiling. Wasn't waving. Did you get a plate number? No, but the back window had a crack. Looked like a bullet hole. That was something. We told the police. They filed it. But I could feel the truth. If we didn't find her ourselves, no one would. The next clue came from the unlikeliest place. A USB stick. Slipped under Irina's door in the middle of the night. On it? Surveillance footage. From Boris's office. Recent. Dated after Yana's exposure. The footage showed Boris, sitting with 2 men in suits. They didn't speak much. But one thing was clear. They weren't business partners. They were planning something. And on the whiteboard behind them, 3 names circled in red. Irina. Sashka. Maria. Us. My blood went cold. What is this? He's still watching us, Irina whispered. Even now. We thought Boris was just a coward. We thought he disappeared. But the truth was far worse. He hadn't run away. He was still here. Pulling strings. Watching us. Hunting us. And we were out of time. The USB changed everything. We knew Boris was involved, but now we had proof. Names on a whiteboard. Surveillance footage. A hidden conspiracy brewing under our noses, and we were its targets. I couldn't breathe. He knows everything, I whispered. Everything. Irina looked like she was going to collapse. But then she stood up straighter, like the fear burned away and something cold took its place. Then we stop hiding, she said. We make him pay. We started digging. Back through every lead, every name. Especially the two men in suits from the footage. They weren't investors. They were enforcers. Fixers. The kind of men who clean up messes people like Boris didn't want traced back. One was ex-military. The other, ex-cop. And both had ties to a private security firm Boris funded years ago during his expansion phase. They weren't here for business. They were here for revenge. And now we had just one chance left: catch them before they caught us. The plan was simple: use me as bait. I texted Boris from a burner number. I know what you did to Yana. And I know what you're planning. Meet me. Tonight. Alone. Or the police get everything. I included a fake location. A trap. A rotting warehouse on the edge of the city, the kind where no one would hear you scream. And just in case, I planted hidden cameras and set Irina up nearby with a live feed and backup phone. We were scared. But ready. I waited. 10:07 p.m. A car pulled in. Not Boris. Yana. Alive. Untouched. Wearing sunglasses and heels like this was just a coffee meetup. I froze. What are you doing here? I asked. She smiled. Tying up loose ends. Before I could move, a man stepped out of the shadows behind her. Not Boris. Kostya. The guy I was sure was innocent. The one who cried in front of me. Lied to me. Now he was holding a gun. Don't make this hard, he said. We just want the files. Where's Sashka? I asked, shaking. Yana tilted her head. Oh, honey, do you really want to know? I screamed. Lunged. He struck me. Hard. Darkness. I woke up in a basement. Hands tied. Head throbbing. Yana sat across from me. Calm. Bored. You never understood, she said softly. None of you did. You did this, I gasped. You planned everything. She smiled again. I was tired of being second place. The side character. Always compared to Irina. To Sashka. Even to you. So you staged everything? The acid? The kidnapping? Kostya helped. He owed me. She leaned forward. Boris was just a puppet. I pushed him toward Sashka. Toward marrying me. Toward paranoia. You ever wonder why he kept losing control? She laughed. Because I made sure he did. Footsteps upstairs. Boris. He stumbled down into the basement, eyes bloodshot, desperate. Where is she? He yelled. Where's Sashka? Still asking the wrong questions, Yana whispered. Kostya stepped out from behind him and cracked him in the back of the head with the butt of the pistol. Boris dropped like dead weight. Now it's just us, Yana said, turning to me. You, me, and the truth. But then a sound. Loud. Crashing. Police. Guns drawn. Shouting. Irina. She came. She saved me. Yana screamed, lunged toward the gun on the table. One shot. Then silence. She didn't die. But her empire did. Kostya was arrested. So was Boris. And Sashka? We found her. Alive in an abandoned building. Tied, but untouched. The aftermath was ugly. The trials. The press. Yana's name all over the news, burned beauty behind bars. She confessed to everything in exchange for a lighter sentence. Boris? Still claims he was manipulated. Maybe he was. But he still let it happen. Irina? She moved away. Started over. Changed her number. Sashka? She never really smiled the same way again. As for me, I learned how far people will go to hide the truth. And how far you'll go to protect it.